And see, right here, I actually made a mistake. So this was supposed to come up this way. I don't know why I did that. So now we just need to fix that. So we'll go back. Right now we have a primed 16 by 20 canvas board, canvas panel. So it's not the actual thick canvas. It's a board with canvas over top that's already pre-primed with gesso. What I'm going to do now is actually add some, a lot of people call it liquid white or magic white. This is my version. So we have titanium white mixed with linseed oil. And I actually have a video on how to do that. So I'm just going to take the palette knife and put a thin coat on here. And then we'll take a 2-inch brush and blend it all together really nice. So you don't want a whole lot of this. You want just enough to cover the canvas. And you want a thin coat. So if there's too much on here, you can easily take it off with a paper towel. Okay. So just taking a 2-inch brush, and I'm going to go in a circular motion to cover the entire canvas. It might be hard to see on the video. But when you're closer to it, the paint is actually a shinier surface. So it makes it easier to tell what's actually painted and what's not. So I'll continue to blend all this in. And I do this with virtually all of my canvases. Now if I start with acrylic paint, then I don't do this. This is for oil paints only. The benefit of this is it actually helps the oil paint go on nice and smooth, and it makes it very easy to blend. So with this particular landscape painting, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Make sure there's no high spots. Make sure there's no spots that are missed. I want to do the entire canvas with this. And again, it doesn't have to be really thick. Actually, you want a thin coating. Just enough to make it work. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the sky. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll run some colors across the screen of what we'll be using. That way you can easily tell what it is. And grab your brushes and your paints. And let's paint. With this landscape, I'm going to go ahead and draw in a rough picture. That way I could actually put the colors where I want them to be without doing much overlap. So I'm going to take some raw sienna and some burnt umber, and just going to mix the two together just a little bit to have a little bit darker color than the raw sienna. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some mountains in here. So we'll start right about here. So I'm using a number 2 flat brush, so that way I could get some control out of this. The bigger brushes are great depending on what you're doing, but in this case I want to be a lot more accurate. So we're just going to use a smaller brush to rough this in. So and the horizon line is virtually going to be right in through here, right through the center. So we could get that going. And you want this to be as straight as possible. Now if it's not perfect, it's not a big deal. We can still paint over top of this, which is really nice. Let's go right in through here. And nice little, just adding some character to to the mountains. There we go. The nice part with this is you can actually change up some stuff if you want. So get it kind of going the way you want it to go towards your final result. So instead of doing everything brown, you could go ahead and right through here, we want it to be green. So we're just going to draw a green line. I just mixed some cad yellow with some phthalo blue and got a green. And again, it doesn't have to be really accurate, but at least this way we know that we want to keep these mountains here relatively green. So now I can add a little bit more blue and get a deeper green out of here. So that way right up through here it's going to be a deeper green. Take it right in through here. And then this is all going to be green. So you kind of fill this in. You don't want a ton of paint on here, but you can rough it in. So this is going to be kind of like the underpainting. Unlike acrylic, this won't be drying, so you just don't want to use a whole lot because you will definitely be putting paint over top. And this is going to be, with this particular picture, green all the way across the bottom. And then we're going to have some water down here. So right over through here it's a little lighter. So just adding some cad yellow, and we're just going to rough in where we think it should be. And scrubbing it in. Just moving the paintbrush back and forth to add the paint and fill in all the gaps. And that looks like it kind of slopes down. So let's go ahead and add some more over here. Kind of straighten it out a little bit more. Okay. And right under here. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. This is just a rough-in. So now I know where the sky's going to be, and I can go ahead and add that accordingly instead of covering everything with blue. So I want to make this a little taller, and this part's going to be darker as well. So let's go right through here. This part, I'm going to take the raw umber and a tad bit of red. Just going to put that right up through here. We'll make this taller too. Nice part about this is you can make it any way you want. Fill that in. So now I'm just going to fill this in with a little bit of paint, just a thin layer. And the cool part with this is now I can actually start establishing the colors. So, get some green up through here. here. Make this darker. Just a little. Again, we don't want too much paint on here. Okay. And this mountain, this piece right here, actually cuts in front of this one. So we just put the line in front, and now it's in front. That easy. That pushes that one backwards. This is titanium white. Just gonna grab a little bit of that, mix it in here, get more of a grayish tone. I'm going to use a 1-inch brush, tap it in, and get a little, very small amount of phthalo blue. We'll start right here, just add a little, and bring it across the sky. Get some titanium white. Through here. And go back to the 2-inch brush. We're just going to blend this in. Start creating a foundation for the sky. Lighter down here, darker up here. We're going to add some more colors. We have a very vibrant sky. The titanium white and linseed oil that's on underneath this is helping it blend. So it actually helps it all come together. So go into the smaller brush so you get in tighter through here. Just working with a 1/2 inch flat brush. We're going to go ahead and add some white, titanium white, for some clouds over here. So just going to rough them in, use a decent amount of paint, and just put it up here. Kind of form your clouds. They definitely don't have to be perfect. Let's make them look light and fluffy. Right through here, we're going to add some purple. So violet. We could still use this same brush, but I'm going to use it again for the clouds. So let's go back to this one. This is actually a number 12. And let's go right here. We just want a small amount. Now there's a little bit of white on there. That's not a big deal. Let's add some right up here. Add some right through here, right up through here. We'll blend it all together. It's going to look rough for now. It'll look better after we blend it. So here. Now right through here it turns a little bit more blue. So we're just going to take a little phthalo blue and we'll add it right through here. And a little phthalo blue through here as well. And a little bit more titanium white. I'll lighten this up a little. And blend it all in. Now just using a 2-inch brush, we're going to blend it. I'm just going to use the corner and kind of turn it in circles and lightly touch. And I'm touching the canvas and going up this way, so it gives it more of a cloud effect, like it's kind of blowing up. Be careful going through the white now, because with all of this color on there, it's going to just totally eat up the white. So let's take a paper towel and just get rid of some of this excess. You can tell there's a lot of excess on there. Okay. And again, just use the corner. Should already start to look like clouds. Blend all of that. But we got a ways to go yet. Still got to do some stuff here. So if you see any brush marks, you want to get rid of those too. blend it till you think it's where you want it to be. Now if the 2-inch brush doesn't work, you could try using this. And this is referred to as a mop brush. They use it for watercolor. I like to use it for a blender. So it's softer and it definitely helps get rid of those lines better. Definitely gives it a softer look. One of my favorite brushes for this effect. Okay. Gonna go back into this 1/2-inch flat brush, go into the white, and let's go ahead and add some more white through here. I want this to be lighter. Now we can add some more clouds. I'm going to go ahead and do this little wispy cloud right in through here. And this is just straight titanium white. Add these little clouds wherever you like. So these are just free-floating little clouds. Gives it a little bit more character. Put some stuff down through here. And back to the blending brush and lightly go over this. Now doing this wet on wet may not get all the effect you're looking for. So if you get it close to where you want it, let it dry, and you could go back again and add more detail. It's a lot more difficult doing this with the wet on wet, but if you do get it where you like it, good job. Going to take a smaller brush, and now we're going to add a tad bit more color. We don't want a whole lot of this. Just going to mix it in with the white. And just tap it in. By tapping it in, you'll get the best control. Now back to my blender brush. I'm going to take fresh paper towel. We don't want to mix this so much. We don't want to have any paint on here. Just blend it in. Give it a nice soft look. Not going to go through all of this. I just kind of want to show you, but you could go back and forth and add more paint as much as you like. If it just gets to be too much, you have to wait for it to dry so you can add more. And you may have to stand back so you can get a better view and see if it's where you want it to be. So I think we're doing all right. I'm going to take a little bit more blue, just run it through here. Now we got to do this kind of light because I don't want it to be tremendously dark. It's a little darker than I want. So we definitely will have to blend this out a little. Right through here, over there, so right through here. Well, this is the blender brush again. We'll start where it's lighter, so it doesn't carry a whole lot of paint into the light area. I'm going to take some little clouds right in through here. Give it a little bit more character. I'll take some through here too. I'm going to take a smaller brush so I can blend this with finer detail. So that way I get close to the mountain here. And just blended it into the paint. Just wanted to make it look a little darker. Same with up here. And just rubbing some of the excess off on a paper towel. So again, tapping it can help you put it where you want it a little bit better. That'll also help take off some of the excess. So back to the blender brush. It's still a little bit dark and rough for me, so I'm gonna blend it out a little bit more. Just gonna take this sky right through here and blend it down a little. And using that blending brush, this way the transition between these two layers is nice and smooth. Definitely don't want this to be blotchy. So we have the liquid white or the titanium white and linseed oil down here on the bottom. So it's still nice and slick. I'm going to go ahead and add some blue, just some phthalo blue. And at this point the cool part is we can actually put it exactly where we want. So I'm going to start from the edges and bring it in towards the center. And then we have some right through here. I'll make this blue. So what I need to do is draw a reflection of the mountains right through here. So I should have done that before I added the blue. So let's get to that. So just going to take my small brush and we'll go to the brown and the raw umber so we can actually draw, and right through here. And you want to try to mimic this as much as possible. So go here, kind of measure. It could be a little off, but you want it to be as close as possible. So I'm just using the height of the brush, putting my finger where the actual total measurement would be, and dropping it down here and looking where my finger would be, and that's where the hill's going to go. I'm going to be relatively accurate. And the better you could do this, the more it actually looks like a reflection. So I did this right. If you fill this in, it should almost be exactly what that is. It could be off a little bit because we're still going to make some adjustments. But the nice part is I didn't mess up on the water. Alright. Keep adding some more blue here for the water. And now we can bring it right up to the mountain. For me, doing water, if you're able to make the strokes go left and right, or horizontal, it'll make the water actually look a little bit more realistic. That way some of this starts looking like waves, or ripples. If you make it go up and down, it kind of doesn't work the same way. Okay, let's go here. Now we want this to be lighter. Want this to be darker. So if we start here and move up, right in through here. We're going to go ahead and make violet. And again, going in the same direction, left and right. Now it's mixing with the blue, totally okay. Now we could try the 2-inch brush. We're just going to blend this to get rid of all these lines. And if it doesn't work, we'll get the blender brush. Let's get this anyway so we could get in some better detail. Eliminate a lot of these lines and just slightly go across. This is okay because it will be covered up. Then later, we're going to go ahead and take some of these clouds and put them down here as well, so it actually reflects that. Let's bring this up a little. If we need to add more color, we could always add more. But right now, I think we're good. Now I'm going to fill in this bottom part, which is actually the mountains reflected. We're just going to rough this in so we have some color and some shape. So again, we'll use the raw umber and the burnt sienna. I'm sorry. Burnt umber and raw sienna. That'll work. So basically we're taking this lighter brown and a little bit of the darker brown and a little bit of red. That's actually purple. Okay. Okay. And we could do variations of this. Oh, it makes it look more realistic. So we're going to use a light coating. So just go ahead and rough this in. We're going to put paint over top. And the paint that's going over top is actually going to be more accurate. This just helps us with shapes and stuff. So it comes through here. This part right here is going to be green. So a darker green, we'll get to that here in a minute. and just scrubbing the paint in. Again, we want to do a thin coat because we're going to put more coats over top of more accurate colors and details. Kind of like building a house. I mean, you do the structure first, the framework, and you can actually start seeing where the rooms and everything would be, and then you start putting on the drywall and stuff. In this case, this would be more like the 2x4s and stuff of a house. So now you can see where the reflection's supposed to be. And let's go ahead, we don't have to clean this right now. Let's go ahead and take some dark green and let's just go right through here. So this will be all along the bottom. Make it really dark. You can take a tad bit of black. Just run this through here. So we can line it up this way. So we know this part right here should start about there. And it goes in a little, comes out, and goes around like that. Okay. Got some more green right here. Again, just roughing it in. So let's take some lighter green. Actually, we'll still stick with the darker. This actually is going to be, got a lot of dark areas in it. Again, just kind of roughing it in. We'll get some more of that dark, and then we'll do the bottom part. Let's go a little bit more green. So I'm taking phthalo blue and cad yellow and mixing them together, and that's what's giving me my green. The nice part with that is you could go ahead and have variations of it. So you can make it lighter, medium, dark, and and of course you could use your yellows and blues as well, and it complements it really nice. Okay, so this should be a little darker. So I'm going to round this out a little bit more so it matches that. So again, we'll go for the lighter brown, a little darker brown. Put it in, let's see, right through. Just grabbed a little bit of titanium white. So I wash my brushes off with odorless mineral spirits. Cleans it up really nice. Now I'm ready to go. So now we're going to do this mountain range. We're going to go ahead and start to detail it. Get it exactly the way we want. So I'm going to go for a little bit more of the darker brown. And a tad bit more of the light. And now you can refine the shapes a little bit too if you want. So if you're not quite happy with it, you can make the mountain bigger, smaller, whatever you want to do. Now I'm just tapping this in there. When you tap it, it actually leaves just enough paint to make it start looking more like dirt and trees. When you rub it like that, it actually takes away from that look. And that's the nice part about having the underpainting, because that stays and it helps it give it texture and depth. We can also mix it with a little green, give it a tree look. So kind of put some shrubbery and stuff through here. And again, just keep tapping. And it really helps for that effect. Let's go back to the brown. And tap some of that in. Don't want to put a whole lot of paint on here, but just enough. You don't want to tap it and get a big old glob. And this is a firmer bristle brush. It's not a really soft one, as you can tell. You can hear it when it's tapping the board, the palette. Alright, then we'll bring this up here. So it's darker. This particular part of the mountain is actually off in the background. Okay. Now I'm going to go for more green. And here again, you can work with different shades of the color. So we go for a little bit more of the lighter. I'll put highlights over here. So I'm just tapping it. To tap it, you actually get some of that paint off the brush, so it's not so globby. And then just tap it in. Use different pressure when you're tapping to see what kind of effect you get. And you may find one you like a lot, or different variations of it, and just, use that as you wish. Let's go. I'm going to tap into the white. just titanium white, just a little. And we're going to go ahead and add a couple little taps on here. Give it some snow. Okay, now we can start working with this part of the mountain. So let's go back to the brown. And the lighter brown. So again, this is actually raw sienna. And this is burnt umber. Alright, brown and light brown works for me. Okay, let's go for a bit of the white. I'll tap that over here. Okay, now let's work on this mountain, this hill. So again, we're just going to tap. Just want to tap it really lightly and let the canvas take the paint off by itself. So when you're doing this, think trees, think shrubbery. So you won't have any sideways really. You'll have them more going up and down. So once you get to the top, you can add a little bit more variation. Just enough, because this is still going to be way in the background. You don't want these up here, these little bumps, to be really standing out. Because it is so far away, you want to make it look like a tree in the background. So let's go for a little red and a little yellow. Back to the brown. Okay. So let's take some white, a little black, so we could create a gray. A little bit darker. So let's go right through here, a little lighter. It's going to make it look like there's some rocks over here on the hill. So again, kind of just tap. Let's go ahead and do the same for these as well. So taking a little raw sienna, titanium white, little cad yellow, and a little bit of the brown, darker brown. Let's put that right through this one. Get rid of some of that extra paint. Now tap away. Okay, now this one is in the background. I'm going to make it a little bit darker. And let's go ahead and take some of the brown and tap it out. Let's put it up here so you can see it. So when I tap, you just see some little dots instead of a line. So let's go ahead and start putting some texture on this one. So now, in this area, I'm going to tap in a little bit of snow. Some leftover snow that hasn't melted yet. And this will be in the background, so we won't be able to see it a whole lot. So this part doesn't have to be perfect. And we could go back in and alter some stuff later. Starting to look more like mountains. Alright, let's go ahead and we're going to take some dark green and put it through here. A little bit of lighter green up here, so dark. Same brush, didn't wash it. And let's take a little bit of black. And this will be right through the bottom. So we're going to have some trees sticking up through here. So this will just be the background. Give it more of an organic look and some depth. So we could put some lighter trees in the front, and that way you'll see the darker background behind it. And this is going to be water down here. So we kind of mimic or copy what we have here on the top and put it here on the bottom to help for the reflections that will be coming up later. So through some of this we want to more of a medium, lighter green. Make it light enough so you can actually see some of it. Kind of hard with the camera. So I'm making a little bit more yellow. Just added some cad yellow to the green. Put that on the bottom. Put this through here. Helps give it some dimension. Okay. Medium through here. And just tap this in. So by taking a brush, actually going up like this, it gives it more, it's making the grass and the trees and the stuff that are back here go upwards instead of sideways. Cleans it up a little bit. So this little hill that's back here, I wanted to make a little bit more prominent. Right now it was actually hard to see and you weren't sure which hill came where. So in this case, went ahead and took it and went right over top of these other two. I want to hit it with a little highlight here, so you can actually see that effect better. So just tapping into the cad yellow, and we're just gonna go up here and hit this. So that way you can see that it's actually going in front. Take a little brown. Just tapping. So these sharp edges and stuff, they really need to disappear. This way it looks like there's trees and stuff in the background. Okay. We don't want to do a whole lot over here because we're going to have trees going right up through here. So just trying to clean it up a little. There we go. Okay, just going to go ahead and continue doing this and filling this in We're going to go ahead and start using the green right now to go ahead and put the green through here and through this area. So let's start out. This is more of a medium. It could be a little darker with the reflection in the water. So a lot of times water does make the reflection a little darker. So I'll just tap this in here. And like I said, it's definitely okay to take a couple steps back and look back to make sure that you like what you're doing. Nothing wrong with that. If it takes a while to actually do this, take your time. This, let's see. And see, right here, I actually made a mistake. So this was supposed to come up this way. I don't know why I did that. So now we just need to fix that. So we'll go back to the lighter brown and the white. And let's go back up here to fix this. Not a big deal. Mistakes do happen. Sometimes you don't have to fix them. Sometimes it's a good idea. This goes this way. Okay. So again, this is going to be reflection. So this is still going to change up a little bit. So this part right here is not a big deal right now. Okay. Let's go back to the green. I'll mix up a little bit more here. Make it a little darker. So phthalo blue, cad yellow. Again, just tap this in here. Let's make this a little lighter. So just straight cad yellow. And this part we haven't really done yet. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit darker. I'll just bring in some more shrubbery. do the same thing through here. Now I'm going to take a little phthalo blue, a little bit of the black. I want some dark green for this. So gonna try to blend this a little bit better. And do the same to the top. Now the top's going to be different because we want this part to be in the background. So what we need to do is, if you're touching any of this, it needs to be the hill in the front. That way anything you do overlaps the one in the back. Otherwise you bring this one forward, doesn't quite look right. Okay, take a little white, a little lighter color, and let's go through here, and we can lighten some of this up a bit. We'll go up through here too. So this hill, I'm going to straighten it up a little bit. I mean, it's fine the way it is, but I'd rather see it come up here more. And to change it, that easy. We'll get rid of some of this point. And remember, whatever you do up here, gotta do down here as well. So back to the brown and round this out a little bit more. So grab a little more phthalo blue, a little more cad yellow, and a little bit of lamp black. Make this nice and dark. Now we're going to have trees up through here. So right down here on the bottom, I want this to be really dark. More blue, more lamp black. Just take this and bring it down. And right now, I don't want this to be finely detailed because I'm going to put some trees up here and I want it to mimic the trees down here in the bottom. So right now this is more of a shape than anything else. So let's go. And we'll fix that too. Here. So work on these trees right here. They're going to be pretty tall. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some more of the green. And we want this to be really dark. Some of this darker. So we'll take some black and mix it in with this part. So now we have really dark, dark, and then we can make it lighter for highlights. So I'm going to take, this is actually a number 2 fan brush. Take it and put it in a really dark, and I want to go ahead and get some paint on here. So I'm pushing it forward, and I also want it to be even, and I don't want it sticking out so it's clumpy. So now I have this part on the bottom. I need to make sure it goes up to the top, and we're going to do about the same height. So right here measures about there, and this we can measure about here. So let's go. I just lightly want to put in an idea where the trunk of the tree is going to be. I'm going to do the same for one here. So this one will be this one right here. So right above it. And this will be used as a guide so I can see more of what I'm doing. Alright. We have some trees in the background. So you're going to start filling a lot of this in with the darker color. Got one up here, a couple on the back. Most of this is all going to be dark. So just tapping this in here. Sorry, very difficult for you to see, so I apologize. So straight up and down, and just tapping this in. So it actually fills this space. There we go. And then we could go ahead and do more of this on the bottom. bottom, we'll add a little bit more of the branches. Same with this one. And there's some in here as well. Now, let's go for the medium green. Didn't clean the brush. Just going to make sure there's a decent amount of paint on here. And again, not clumpy, but fill the brush. And this one I want to be careful because I want just a little bit to indicate some branches. So I'm just going to tap it with the corner of the brush. This is one of those where you could get carried away and fill in all the spaces, but sometimes it's nice to actually be able to see some of the light in between the branches. And it's kind of going a zigzag, so back and forth. So going towards the bottom, this area is going to fill in really fast with all these different trees in here. So, okay. So grab some more. Push up so it fills up the brush. Filling up the brush like this not only gives you the extra paint, but it also helps clump it together, so it's easier to get sharper branches. So again, just touching this. Define these a little bit more. Now we have some trees. Now, I'm going to take the flat palette knife, take a little white, little black, just a little bit of black, so we can make a gray. Blend it together until you get it to where you want it. Roll it flat and just cut across and get a little bit on the edge. So now, let's go. I'm going to try it this way so you can actually see it. So let's go ahead and just tap this part right here. This way we got a tree trunk. And whatever you put up here, you got to put down here as well. There. Now the fun part. If you didn't get any of this where you exactly wanted it, you can still change it. So just blend it right in, make it look like there's some branches here. Clean this up a little. Sometimes when you're looking at the trees, you don't see the trunk because it's covered up by all the branches. So you could change it. Now I gotta change this part here too. Just taking off some paint. Wiping it on a napkin or a paper towel. And we got this started right about there, so. We got enough dark paint on there to absorb a lot of that excess. So just keep that like that. And then and you can mess around with this as long as you want. Trees can take a small amount of time if you want to put like an idea of a tree. Trees could take a long time if you want to do lots of detail. These don't need tons of detail because of the distance, but we're still going to make it look nice. And we're still going to add highlights. There we go. With the same brush, fix some of that. I want to go ahead and go into the lighter green, add even more cad yellow. Tap some of that in there. Okay. Now, I'm just going to hit certain areas. You don't want to hit everything. Just going to put some highlights on there. Going right into the cad yellow. Make it a little bit more brilliant. Let's go here. Grab some of this one. If you make all the dark go away, it doesn't make it look as nice. So keep some of that there. Now if you start from the top, it actually starts mixing with the paint underneath. So most of your light is actually coming from the sun above it, which means it's going to be darker down here anyway. Make this part darker. So let's put some more trees in here. So let's go ahead and take one. Put it right up through there. And take another one. Let's see if you can see this. Put it right through here. Then more of a medium green. I'll just go start from the top. I'll do another one right next to it. Now we can put some little trees in the background. Now you want them to be different heights. So you don't want them all to be the same level. Now, add some more green, and we'll try to mimic the same thing on the bottom. Grab more. Now we gotta put some trees through here. And just all different levels. And I'm just taking the fan brush and kind of pushing down with it, hitting this corner, kind of like, let's see if I can show you. So hit it like this. And actually just push the trees right where you want them. Make sure you have enough paint, and make sure you're not covering up all the stuff that's in the background. That's what helps give it depth. Now, more blue, more yellow. Now, let's put some trees on the bottom. So I'm going to take some of these clouds and reflect them in the water. This actually should have been done a while ago, before all the trees, but we're going to put them in now. So let's take a little bit of the red. We want a pink cloud. And let's go ahead and go right in through here. Let's see. Now again, we want to mimic this. So taking a little white, we'll put it in right through here. Now you want to be careful not to hit these trees, even though they should be behind the trees. Now you want to blend it out really good, because you don't want it being really prominent or sharp, because it is just a reflection. Take some more, put right through here. Oops. So as I mentioned earlier, this has sat for a couple days and it's dried a bit. It's not fully dry, but it does make it a little easier to add these clouds and do this reflection, because it doesn't mix in so much with the paint. Now there's some white right through here. I don't want to get too carried away with this part, because if I carry a bunch over this way, then I'm going to end up having to fix these trees. So just wiping off my brush. Blend that out. is actually going really close into here. So you want to add a little red. Just remember you gotta blend this out. So don't put much on there. Okay. And corner of the brush, lightly blend so you can see how it's actually gonna go. That's not too bad. Red is definitely one of those colors that will go a long ways. So if you put too much on, it'll make it look more red than the pink. There we go. I'm going to take a little bit of blue and we'll put it right here. A little white. Right here. Okay, so we're going to go for a light blue. This is too dark. Just put a little roll on the end of your brush, or palette knife, and then let's go up through here, cut in little watermarks. Grab some more. And some of these actually go quite a bit through the painting. Put that on there. Okay. Now clean this part off. And now we're going to go for a little bit darker. That right through here. If you need to get to smaller spots, you could use the top edge of the palette knife. Actually, some little ripples in through here. Now some of this is going to pull into the water. So let's take some of the darker color. Kind of do the same thing. This is a mop brush. I use it for a blender brush. A lot of times people use it for watercolors. I'm just going to go over this really lightly. So I don't want this brown into the blue right here. So let's go this way. Gonna hit all the light spots first, then we'll start working on some of the darker spots. Now from here, I'll take this and bring it down. I'll take this and bring it up. Now you just want to lightly touch it. Don't want to put a whole lot of pressure on here. And this is a thinner brush, very soft than any of the other ones I've been using. So even with a small amount of pressure, you really don't need to go beyond that. And if you take the darker color and move it up, wipe it off before you hit the lighter color. It'll help blend it better. Otherwise, a lot of the dark color goes right into the lighter color and eats it up. Okay, so we could tap in through here, blend it out a little. We're starting to get more of the darker color in through this brush, so you want to be careful. So back to the white. I'll take it through the blue mixture that we have right through here. And we want this to either be a light blue or a light green. So in this case, I want it to be blue. Put a little roll on there. And I like to cut it down to the bottom. So if we go right up through here. So it looks like there's a little snow separating the ground from the water. I'll drag this all the way through. Grab a little more. The trick to this is to not be too vibrant. If it was really white, it takes away from the effect. Still could be a nice looking painting, but if you calm down the colors, it makes it look more realistic. So by calming down the color, in this case we just added some blue to it, so it wasn't so vibrant. We're good to go. So now we're going to sign it. I think we're done. There. Now we do have another option. This always happens with my paintings. Let's go ahead and take some mineral spirits. We'll mix it in with the green that we have already. And this is what they refer to as a liner brush. So it's really thin. Now we want to go ahead and thin down this paint. And that's what the mineral spirits are for. Now you see me rolling the brush. Rolling gets all the excess paint off, and it helps it get a fine tip. With this you can actually start adding some more detail, but I want to go ahead and put some grasses up through here. So if you put down a layer, or actually if you put up a couple pieces of grass, you want to go ahead and put reflection down on the bottom, which means you go in the same direction. And then you could put a shadow underneath. So, get a few more of these, and it could go right through the clouds and stuff. So it's best to go upwards. Gives it a little bit sharper point on the bottom, or on the top. Again, some reflection. If you can hear her, that's my granddaughter. think we're done now. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you had fun. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and you'll see more of these. And send me some of your pictures with my email. I'd love to see them. Thank you guys.